Hey Nadia,
Hello.
how's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Um, I was looking forward to our talk today because it was actually really surprisingly nice to talk to you in this podcast form last week.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it too.
And I have a question for you, which is potentially, I think this conversation could become slightly sensitive or controversial.
Hmm.
Um, and it's inspired by a lot of things that have conversations I've had in the past week. And it is food and nutrition and diet culture
Hmm.
amongst college women. And
Okay.
I think the most, I think there are a couple of things that came
Loaded
up.
topic.
What did you say?
I said loaded topic.
Yeah, loaded topic. So there's a couple things that came up. One of them was this, and I want to know your thoughts on this. So I was talking to this mom, and she was telling me that her daughter was going to college, and she told her daughter that if she stayed slim, they would continue to give her her allowance. So
Wow.
it wasn't just that. I'm making that sound worse than it was. It's still bad, but it was if you get good grades and if you stay slim, but maybe the mom said if you stay healthy, and you get good grades. But
uh,
loaded in that question or
right.
in between the lines is like if you don't gain weight in college, then we will continue to
Right.
give you money.
Right.
Any thoughts on that?
I think that's really hard. I feel like in the beginning, when you first start college, you're like, oh yeah, like I don't think everyone talks about the freshman 15, but it doesn't really seem that like seems pretty out of reach just because like that's I don't know. For me personally, I did gymnastics like all throughout middle school and high school, so the thought of it was like something that I personally hadn't experienced before, and I thought that it wouldn't be that much different having to like get food for myself. Like I'm not that of a beginner like cook or like I know how to order food and stuff like that. So it didn't feel like something that would happen, but it's really I mean a lot of people talk about it, but like the college transition is pretty difficult and I think I mean people cope in different ways, but I was abroad and I feel like um and I know you heard a lot about me like complaining about food and stuff like that, but with like when you are eating a bunch of food that you might not like, you end up buying your own, and that doesn't necessarily mean it's like the best food. I'm like going for like the junk food that I miss from home, and it all kind of adds up along with like stress and all of that. It's definitely it happens without like you noticing. Um and so I think when I came back from my first semester of college, I was like, I definitely saw a difference in the way that I saw myself in the mirror. Not necessarily that there was like that big of a like weight change or whatever. Like it just I felt different. And I think it was because of all of those things. But something that I feel like parents and everyone should take more into account is like just everything that you did in high school is not going to be the same in college. And so if you don't have like a parent like cooking for you anymore, like it's changes are going to happen without the kid noticing. So I don't know. It's hard to like tell your kid that you have to stay slim because it's kind of almost out of their control. Um, but now that I'm a second year, I feel like I've gotten a better hang of it. Not to say that like I'm the best at it, but I've definitely tried to like have healthier foods around and like when you're stressed you just want to snack, and if you are aware of it it's easier to control it. But
Mhm.
I don't
I
know,
mean, there was
it's
a lot
like it's
there.
really
There was,
hard.
like yeah, there's a lot, like, many people do sports in high school. Not many, but there are
Right,
people that do sports in high school that don't do sports in college. So if you go from, like, in your
right,
situation, like, 20 to 25 hours of doing a sport to you're not doing
right.
gymnastics in college anymore, and then it's like, at most, you're gonna get an
Mhm.
hour a day, right? Like, you're never gonna force yourself to go to the gym
Right,
for 4 hours on your own, right?
right.
Um, in a day. But so there's that. There's also you're just growing. You're like continuing to develop
Right.
and become a woman. So you're
Mhm.
it like that's inevitable that you are going to grow into your woman adult body.
Right.
And then
Yeah,
there's if you have
totally.
coping mechanisms like eating for comfort that adds to it. Um, I was thinking like, what
Mhm.
are the I mean, I guess this varies from
Drinking
person to person.
also, I think.
Hmm?
Like, drinking,
Oh,
like,
right.
if I've heard, like, many stories of, like, I don't not necessarily in the best form, but, like, people just noticing, like, after someone has been in college for a certain amount of time, like, they're always out at parties and, like, you can just tell that they look different than they did in high school, which is, like, I don't know, especially with social media, those differences, like, people really take them into account, which, is not a good thing, but it just, like that's just the way life is. You're gonna, like, not look the same as you did in high school, but I think that, like, eating and all the, like, college stuff, your first year definitely play a big role.
Right. Drinking alcohol, maybe evening munchies. Um, yeah.
Maybe.
So, so there's that. Okay. What was I going to say? Oh, what do you think? How much does it play a role that some people were under so much control and restriction under their parents, and then they go to college and then they just go crazy because they now have the choice to eat whatever they want, and before their parents used to control it,
Mhm.
and now they're going to either rebel or they don't know how to make decisions for themselves because their parents always made the decision for them.
Right. I think the freedom is in all ways in college is like something that you definitely have to like teach yourself how to control it. But yeah, I could definitely see how like being you have a certain amount of money that you could spend whatever from a job, from an allowance, and now no one's telling you what you can and can't buy with it. So it's easy to be like, let's just spend it all on this food that I was never able to eat when I was at home. Um, yeah, that's definitely hard.
Okay, so what advice do you have for me and for the other moms out there? You and I had you and I had a really interesting conversation that like really caused me to pause, and it was last year.
Mhm.
You as a mom who's always been a part of your life, I continue to want to be a part of your life, right? So I'd ask you questions,
Right.
normal questions. Sometimes it's like, how's school? How's
Mhm.
your friends? Are you sleeping well? Blah, blah, blah. So at one
Right.
point, our conversation became, what are you doing for breakfast? Because you were living at the dorms, and you're like, I had apples, and I said, oh, did you get the apples from Trader Joe's or did you get it from the cafeteria? I don't remember what the answer was. And
Mhm.
then might have said, did you pair it with some protein? I'm not sure if I said that. Trying to give you like this, like you could pair your carbs with
Probably.
some fiber and protein. I don't know. I'm not sure if I went there. And
Mhm.
then I said, and then you were talking about how you were going to have Popeyes for lunch. And I was like, I said something like, is that really the healthiest choice? Because I know I'm paying for your food at the
Mhm.
dorms, and you're choosing not to go to the cafeteria where there's like some steamed vegetables and salad and, grilled chicken or something. You chose to get a Popeye's chicken sandwich or whatever you chose to get. And I said, is that really the healthiest choice? And your response, like super quick, was like, I don't need to be telling you all the things that I'm eating. And I was like, oh, like I felt all of a sudden like I went too far. And like on the one
I
hand,
don't remember saying that.
oh my God. I specifically remember that because I've always been very, I feel like I've been around a lot of eating disorders in my life, you know, like my friends, and because I work with
Yeah.
gymnasts and dancers, like I've been
Yeah.
around a lot of eating disorders. So like there's this
Mhm.
weird balance. Like I want to encourage you to eat healthy, but I don't want to like cause some kind of weird
Yeah.
relationship to food. And so when you said, I don't need to tell you all the things that I eat,
Yeah.
I was like, oh God, I'm being one of those weird parents that drive their child towards weird relationships with food. And
Yeah.
so I
I
stopped. And
mean,
actually, part of that, on a side note, was contributed to me getting a dog so that I could focus my attention on feeding another animal.
that's really funny. I like that had that conversation, probably a text conversation too, had that much of an impact. But I don't know. I think it's definitely, obviously I'm not always like I don't want you always asking questions about it, but in Greece when I was studying abroad, I did go to you when I was like, I know I'm eating all these bad things that I don't know how to like, and I'm being served all these things that I know aren't that healthy and I'm not really sure what they are, and like I wasn't sure how to go about that. I don't know. That you have to find a balance. I feel like it really depends on the person. And I've also always had a really weird relationship with food because I love food, but also being an athlete for a long time and then I don't know, like having to like then when I'm in college and I'm managing my own health with my food, I don't know. It's definitely a struggle. So it helps when someone's like I guess calling you out, but it really depends on the person. I guess that maybe I was feeling really. Maybe you got me on a wrong day, on a bad day.
Well, it made an impression and resulted in our dog. So good.
So in
um,
the end, it was good.
yeah. Um, it's funny that you don't remember because I've told other parents this story multiple times about like how when you put me in check, but you don't remember. So going back to that original parent that
That's
I was
funny.
talking about, she
Uh
is
huh.
asking her daughter to send her pictures of her food every day, like what she's eating.
Like, is she in the dorm? Oh, cause she's a freshman,
She's a freshman.
so she's only
So,
eating at the dorm.
mhm. And I don't know. I think that's all that could potentially all contribute to some um, potentially unhealthy relationship with food and unhealthy relationship between um,
Right.
parent and child. But here's where you like
Yeah.
draw the line again. So the other thing that happened this week was you got really excited because I sent you an air fryer
Mhm.
because I
I
wanted to
love it.
encourage. Yeah, I wanted to encourage you to eat vegetables. Um,
Oh, and I sent you a picture of it.
and you sent me a picture of it. And the text that you sent me was so cute. You're like, guys, she's here. And it's like a picture of your air fryer, it made me happy to make you
I was
happy.
really excited.
Yeah. Um, but I had said to you, I will get you an air fryer if you send me a picture every time you're eating
Oh,
um,
mhm.
f- air fried broccoli,
Vegetables.
vegetables.
Well, okay. I feel like there's a difference between that and the story that you were saying before. Because when I sent you the pictures, I sent you a picture of my vegetables the other day and they didn't look good and I thought it was funny. So, like, I wanted to send it, but also to be like, look, I did it. I feel like there's a difference between me doing it on my own terms versus someone asking me to do it. I feel like if you were in you were in that mom's position, you asked me to send a picture of my food every day, I'd like two things. One, I would send you the picture of the food and like perfect it basically. Like I want to make sure that you're looking at something that you want me to be eating. And so then I'm going around the dining hall and I'm like, I want that, but if I send a picture of that, I'm going to get in trouble. Or like not that I'm going to get in trouble, but like she's going to say something. And two,
So
after
is it
doing that,
helpful? Is
I
that a
feel
good
like it's the type of thing of like it is a good thing, but then also it's like well, I don't know. I'm not an expert, but I always tell myself like everything in moderation. So if I'm telling myself I can never ever ever eat pizza ever again, like that's not necessarily like it that's not necessarily something that has to happen. It's you don't want it every day, but it's not something you can never have. But I think another thing that might happen is like her eating or me in this situation eating food but not sending a picture of it, like
like hiding?
and then whatever food I spend on my own money or outside or whatever, even still in the dining hall, is going to be an act of like, I'm just going to rebel against whatever healthy food I've been being told to eat every day. I don't know. But maybe I don't know, maybe her daughter likes it like that.
Right. It's like this balance,
It,
like on the one hand, it's cute because you have like this like supportive relationship and you're staying in contact. On the
right.
other hand, it's like over surveilling, like, is that a word? Surveilling? Like too
Yeah,
much helicopter
yeah.
parenting, I feel like we have such an
hmm
opportunity to get so much in your business. Like we can see pictures of everything on Instagram. We can follow you on Find My or Life 360 or wherever I'm following you on. We get text messages when you make purchases. So I know exactly where where
Hmm.
you're purchasing things. Like when I asked you if you bought some healthy snacks at the liquor store. And then
She's exposing
um
me.
or you did though, right? You bought nuts and like some dried fruit at the liquor store.
Yep. Yes.
And like we see everything. It's a little bit much, like
mm,
or or maybe that's just the way
right.
life is, but seems like a bit much.
Yeah. It is a lot. I don't know. A lot of things, but for me, a lot of these things that you just said happen without like my like that's just gonna like I can't do anything about it because that's on your end. I can't
Mhm.
like take my phone off of your find my iPhone, and I can't like stop you from getting text messages when I buy things. And I mean, I don't know. Those things are good, but I can't control it. I feel like, but maybe that's just like your style of parenting. But I'm like fine with it because there's no way. I feel like there's no way I can like change that, and it's
Yeah.
not like I'm doing anything wrong. So
Well, you don't know any
I don't
different. You
really.
don't know
It's
what it
not
was
like
like
I
to
don't really
be
have anything to hide.
right. You don't know what it's like to be like because
Yeah.
when I was in my 20s, like my parents had no idea where I was or what I was doing, and so your
Right. Right.
generation has this is all you know is your parents being able to
But
see wherever
then,
you
yeah, and you grew up like that with your parents not knowing where you were. I get it's just like uh something that changed over the
are. Mhm.
years, but probably for the better.
Maybe. Um, okay, one last topic, which we only have a couple minutes, but so and this might have to go on to another episode. Do you
Okay.
see people, friends with disordered eating habits or disordered eating that you're concerned about? And like, what do you do about that?
Well, recently, no. I think it's just not necessarily disordered eating, but ways of thinking. Like, you want to just, I don't know, it's hard to think about what's healthy for you when you're like getting your food from the dining hall, and now for us as second years, like starting to make your own food. It's hard to make that decision if we don't really have all the information about like the nutrition and like what's actually really bad for you and what's really good for you. Um, I don't know. I don't, it's not like anyone that I see not eating or eating not enough of what they should be. It's more like avoiding certain foods, or I don't know. Oh, like I can't get up and get seconds at the dining hall because it's gonna like everyone's gonna judge me. I've
Mm.
personally felt that. I don't know. It's like maybe that's an internal thing. I still go up and I get more food, but it's like people are gonna see me getting more food and be like, "Why? Like she already had food. Why is she still hungry?" Like it's like a whole bunch of things. But maybe it's because like I'm surrounded by girls. Guys
Mhm.
obviously think differently. They're gonna eat whatever they want, and yeah, how like I've seen guys with like piles of food and they don't care. But I don't know. It's hard, as I feel like it's always gonna be hard, but
I mean, I remember
especially in the
actually
dining
being in
hall.
PT school, and one of the first lunches that I had in PT school, we all like ate inside our classroom, and
Mhm.
there's 30 people in my class. The majority of them were eating healthy foods like cut up bell peppers and like salads. And I straight had a burger in like
Mhm.
a styrofoam box thing. And I was like, all of a sudden feeling really self conscious because, I'm a future healthcare professional. And amongst the
Yeah.
specific healthcare professionals that care about like, nutrition and fitness, and they're all eating healthy foods and I was eating a
Right,
burger and
right.
fries, I definitely like felt all of a sudden self-conscious. So it doesn't end, I guess.
Yeah. They
Um,
just wanna put up a front then. Nobody really likes bell peppers.
I've grown to like bell peppers and fresh ones, not cooked ones, in my later years.
I can't understand it, but it's okay.
Okay, well, nice talking to you. Until next week.
Nice talking to you too. Bye.
Bye.